Right, guys, here we are, MMA UK News. Stoomboy, as always, MMA UK BJJ show. So, talking about grappling, as we've been doing the last few weeks now. So, grappling, this event is going to be Grapple Kings 8. Now, Grapple Kings 8, there's been a couple of venue changes. Me and Jamie were talking about it just before we came on here.
We weren't talking any shit about Newport. Sorry about the bad language. But, you know, like I said, mate, Valley boy can't be singing any better.
Listen, Newport's a lovely place. A lovely place. So,
peace and love. Peace and love.
So it's going to be the new venue, Radisson Blue in Cardiff. Now, again, it's a great venue. I mean, anybody that's been on the Radisson Blue, anybody from Cardiff may know what the area, what the place is like. And obviously, you can go online, see pictures. It's a great venue. So it's hopefully going to be a great venue for Grapple Kings 8. Now, ticket availability, anybody looking for tickets for the event, just head over to the Grapple Kings Facebook page and it'll take you through to their website, and it's on Eventbrite. I believe they're about £30 or £35 for a ticket, and there is going to be pay-per-view on this, so we'll obviously announce the details of the pay-per-view at the end of this interview. Now, it's going to be an unbelievable event. It's the 4 nations, so obviously we had Team Ireland and Northern Ireland at the Grapple Kings 7. Team Southern Ireland, should I say, came out victorious on it, and this one's going to be Team Wales versus Team England. So we've got some of the top grapplers across both countries are going to be on the card that evening. I think there's 56 fighters. So what's that, about 28 fights, I believe. So it's a big card. So
you're definitely going to get your money's worth. You're definitely going to get your money's worth.
You are. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. Obviously, my guest tonight is going to be on the show that night. So Jamie Tungate of Craig Ewers Academy. Great. Jamie comes with a wealth of experience across martial arts. So not just grappling, jiu-jitsu, obviously wrestling, judo, MMA. So he's got a wealth of experience and over a number of years. So yeah, he's going to be on the show that evening representing Team Wales. So Jamie, listen, absolute pleasure to have you on, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, listen, it's good seeing you. Good to have you on. I saw your name when it came up, and I was excited because obviously I've seen you over the years, and I've seen videos of you, and not just, as I say, not just in grappling, but as we mentioned, MMA and so on as well. And and it was always a joy to watch you because, as I say, you I mean, I don't know if it's a Welsh thing, but when a lot of Welsh grapplers, when they come out, they're all about pressure and pushing and their technical ability as well. I mean, obviously I know how high level Craig's gym is. I know how good it is, and some of the people that are coming out the gym. But it's been a joy to watch you over the years, so it's going to be absolutely brilliant to see you live and in person on the 23rd.
Hey, thank you, appreciate it. And, you know, that's something I always kind of pride myself on, is just constantly looking for a finish. You know, the old IBJJF type of rule set, you know, the points and passing and all that type of stuff. You know, jiu-jitsu's got to be aesthetically pleasing. If you want to get casual fans in, you know, that's where. Could you imagine if all they were seeing was, you know, mate, I love the gi. I'm not talking any smack about it, but you know, it's great you're seeing people with some really nice technical grip fighting. We get it. We're in the sport. You know, if you're an outsider looking at this, like, what is going on here? And you don't really realize the full ins and outs of, you know, you've just been working for a grip for ages, you get it stripped, and then bam, you go straight back on, and these type of things, you know. So it's really it's a massive thing that it needs to be aesthetically pleasing. You know, that's something I always try and bring to the table, is you actually want people to want to watch you as opposed to thinking, oh, Jesus Christ, is this guy again? You know what I mean? Like, you really, and, you know, that's something I always, you know, even when I'm in bad spots, I'm never thinking about, you know, making through this and thinking, right, when do I attack again? And that mentality will never change.
Yeah, that's one thing as well. I mean, when I go to events, and obviously whether it be my teammates or anybody I'm chatting away, and they've maybe brought like their missus, or they've brought their man or kids or whoever, and you're thinking, is this the first time you've came? And they're like, yeah, and you're like, man, you're going to be bored shitless.
Right. Wait, you know, it's 9 in the morning, wait till 3 in the afternoon, you really do want to give up on life, you know what I mean? Like, that's, we've all been there, mate, we've all been there.
Yeah, but it's one of them things, I mean, especially at an all-day comp, where you can, and we talked about the gi especially, gi can be very, very boring to watch. And you can maybe sit there for let's say 7, 8 hours, and there'll be 100 fights on, and you can probably count on one hand how many fantastic fights there was.
Yeah.
Because especially in the points game, I mean, there's a lot of stalling, there's a lot of, do you know what I
Ah,
mean?
we've
So
all been there, mate. You know, you're up
yeah,
on points, you're looking at the clock is running down. Do I
yeah,
really gamble or do I just, hold this side control for dear life? You know, we've all
yeah,
been there. So, I get it, but like I said, I think it all just comes back to being aesthetically pleasing, doesn't it? That's
yeah,
the goal. If we want to grow the sport and we want to bring more eyes to it, is getting that entertainment value to it, like
yeah,
100%. And you look at like some of the fights that Grapple Kings are putting on, especially I know it's just a newly announced fight, but the Tom Barry Ben Bennett fight that's got fight of the night written after mine, but that's got a
yeah,
fight of the night written all over it. That's
yeah.
going to be a phenomenal matchup, and I've had
As
the pleasure of sharing the mat with both of them as well. So that's all I'll say about those two matches. But yeah, no,
yeah,
I think mate, you have a look up and down that card. There's entertainment everywhere.
yeah. That's the one thing as well. I mean, Welsh at the moment in Wales. And not just at the moment. I mean, we're talking about over years because this is again, it's not an overnight thing. But Welsh combat sports in general has always been at a very, very high level.
Yeah, mate.
I'd say the Welsh grapplers or MMA fighters and stuff like that maybe don't get as much. How would I say this? Respect or that they deserve
Yeah,
because
you just look, really good. I know this is a totally different sport, but it's combat sport related. Joe Calzaghe, like
yeah,
Jesus Christ, you look what that guy did. I'm not being biased here, but the man's a boxing god, and
yeah,
he doesn't get seen with that type of. Well, I think you're hardcore and the people in the know who he is. But as soon as you go outside of Great Britain, you start talking about the states and so on. They
yeah,
know of him, but they don't really know exactly what feat he actually achieved. And it just pays into what you're saying. It doesn't quite seem like we've had that run. But you have a look at some of the athletes, coming out of Wales now, especially this new era. From a
yeah,
grappling point of view, your Fionn Davis, your Ash Williams, and so on. And you start looking at MMA, your Jack Shaws, Mason Jones. I've known
Mason, yeah,
Mason for a long time, and I've trained with Mason, and mate,
yeah.
absolute savage. And it's nice to finally see the people who deserve the shine again, regardless which part of the planet they were born on.
Yeah, yeah. We're starting to see that as well. I mean, that's because Scotland's very similar. I mean, obviously, being a
Yeah,
smaller
yeah,
country, and again, there's a lot of fantastic grapplers in Scotland. There's a lot of fantastic MMA fighters and so on in Scotland. And again, very, very similar. We didn't really get the same respect that we should have got. So
yeah.
very, very similar in Wales in a way. So it's that Celtic
We
warrior spirit.
Mate,
So
isn't it? We're the little ones that,
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
wants to write off. But yeah, mate, we're always going to be there, but we'll always be there.
yeah. What about you then? So training, I mean, how's training going? Because
Man,
obviously I know that you'll be deep in training for this, so and getting prepped up for this. But I mean, how does training normally go for yourself on a regular week?
well, so a regular week. So, I've got a bit of a weird job. So I work 4 on 4 shifts. So when I'm working, I do little bits and pieces, but it's mainly a little bit of sparring, like light sparring and some strength and conditioning. And my 4 days off is where I absolutely train like a madman. So,
Yeah,
it's 2, 3 a day. And that never changes. But when competitions get closer, the intensity obviously increases. And we've been, we've had guys training competing all over the place recently. So
yeah,
the intensity has just been really consistent. And it's obviously getting the right intensity right for the different people. So you don't really want to be going putting your body through the absolute ringer of competition pace sparring if you're
yeah,
not competing until a couple of weeks time. So it's
yeah,
getting at the right time. Like good friend and teammate of mine, Josh Hudson, just recently competed on Polaris. So
yeah,
getting him ready for that. There was a lot of there was a lot of tasty scraps happening in the gym, and I love it. Like that's the bit. I mate drilling and everything's massively important, but I absolutely smile from ear to ear when it's sparring time. And that's just something I've always enjoyed is that testing yourself and all these new skills is trying to apply them and
yeah,
actually make yourself vulnerable and try out new things instead. Mate, we've all been here. We know that guy at the gym where he's been the same level for ages because every time he goes to train, he's just fighting to win, and it's not necessarily helping them progress whatsoever, and
Yeah.
it's getting that balance right. Don't get me wrong, when it comes to competition, it's all about executing, exactly what we're going to be looking for, and just exactly that, just like executing and just carrying her out on the night. But obviously, there's two sides to a fight, mate. You can do everything on your side, but that's all you
Yeah.
can take care of, and that's all, and that's how I always, kind of put my focus is. I worry about me, and you kind of know tendencies of some of the guys you'll be competing against, but I'm only
Mm.
interested in myself, and that's
Yeah.
the way I've always been.
Definitely, definitely. And what about Grapple Kings 8? Because I know obviously in Wales you guys are quite close anyway, so you all kind of know each other. Most of you guys have trained with each other and so on. So how did
Yeah.
you find out then that you were going to be on Grapple Kings 8 representing Team Wales?
Well, as soon as the post went up about the show, immediately, I got in touch with the organization and Ash Williams, and I was just absolutely overjoyed to get a matchup. Like I said, some of the matchups on this card are absolute fire, and
Yeah,
it's going to be a little bit of everything. I think you're going to get your like really nice, leg lock back and forth. I think you're going to get your big wrestling
yeah,
exchanges as well. Like my. You just go on over and Livesey's Instagram account, and you just see, I was going to say something a bit rude, but you see people go airborne, do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
you want in a card, don't you? You want that mix of skills and style matchups as well.
yeah, yeah. And as I say, it's definitely going to have all sorts. It's going to have, as you
Yeah,
mentioned, it's going to have wrestling. There's going to be judo. There's going to be obviously old school jiu-jitsu. There's going to be the new school stuff. Obviously, all the leg lock stuff. There's going to be guys who are with that different rule set mentality. Obviously, your ADCC mentality. Obviously,
yeah,
IBJJF styles and so on. There's going to be gi and no gi matches, male and
yeah.
female. So there's going to be something for everybody on the
Mate,
23rd.
exactly. And mate, you can't go wrong, can you? Variety is the spice of life and all that,
Yeah, yeah. And it's on your
right?
doorstep as well. It's on your doorstep
Mate,
as
well,
well.
it's in my city, mate. It's in my city. We never get this. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
normally up the M4, M5, M6 up north, but this is quite a nice change. I like it.
yeah, yeah. Now listen, I'll be down anyway. I mean, I'm coming down. I'm commentating on the night. So,
Nice,
um,
man.
so I've got to. Obviously, I've done my homework. I know most of the people on it. So, but obviously, I've been writing down obviously a lot of good words to say about you, Jamie. All
Oh,
right.
thank
So,
you.
because it's quite funny. I mean,
With
whenever
the
I
struggle.
do. Yeah, well, no, let's not get find lots of good ones. So, but it's funny because and I keep saying this anytime. Normally, when you're commentating, especially at an event like this, the commentators are very, very close to the
Yeah.
actual action. So when the commentators are talking, the grapplers can hear exactly. And I don't know if you remember, there was one of the UFC fights when they were in. I think it was at either the Apex or they were
Uh,
in, and it was Michael.
without the
Was it Michael
fans, eh?
Bisping? Yeah,
Yeah.
and Michael Bisping was saying things. I can't remember if it was Michael Bisping or Daniel Cormier, and the fighter was able to hear exactly what they were saying. So the fighter was listening to the commentator and doing what they were saying, and he ended up going on and winning the fight. And then he thanked the
Uh,
commentator after it, saying, "I listened to everything you said." So,
okay.
um,
Only good advice on Saturday then,
definitely, definitely. Um,
yeah.
and Jamie, what's next for you then? So obviously this will be one of your main focuses. So what do you see yourself doing grappling wise going forward for the rest of the year?
Mate, for me, it's trying to push these type of shows. To be honest, so this is like where I see me doing my best work. Like I said, I've
Yeah,
competed all over the place. It was
yeah,
really cool. Pre-pandemic, there was always a team of us that went over to Naga Island every September, and we used to do really, really well. And that was a really good look at it's
yeah,
quite like if you just competing in the same local competitions, you don't really get a feel for what's out there and what people are working on. But
yeah,
that gave us a really good, kind of view of like this is you could see where things were kind of going, especially, the leg lock revolution that happened. That was always one that you're traveling around, you're like, oh shit, people are actually starting to use this. And that's
yeah,
something I've always loved with training with Craig is Craig, spotted that trend,
yeah,
such a long time ago and never neglected it. You probably had yourself, you go to some gyms and you're like, oh, with no heel hooks or something. You're like, are you ever going
yeah,
to get comfortable with them if you're not? But, I understand there's a lot of stigma around, a lot of heel hooks, knee bars and so on, it's come
yeah,
with injury. But, you've got to have trust with who you train with. And you just got to know,
yeah,
you got to know when it's time to bail out. It's all very well and good, strong arming or muscling your way through a heel hook and training, you blow your own knee. Like, what did you do that for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's these type of things, you know, we're traveling around, you get to see what, you know, what the lay of the land is going to be. You kind of get to see what the upcoming trends are. So, you know, we kind of went a bit everywhere, you know, and it was mainly through NAGA because the tournament, I just loved that format in all honesty. It was just, you know, and they were everywhere around Europe. Like I said, we've been over to France, Amsterdam, Germany, Ireland as an academy, and obviously all around the UK as well. And that was just because they had an open rule set. It was just like, right, you know, fill your boots with whatever you want to do, and you haven't got a restriction of really thinking through, like, oh, you know, you get to a position, I better not reap on, you know, paranoid about passing your leg through the hip, you know, and all these weird things where you could just go out and compete freely, and you know. Having that from, you know, the blue belt stage is massive, and you know, in my development, and you know, like I said, having a coach like Craig who knew where the lay of the land was going to be and didn't neglect them, you know, was absolutely massive. So you know, the sub only scene, you know, wherever I can get on, mate, you know, I'll be there, and you know, all I'm always going to do is push entertainment matches, and that's everything to me. It's just being somebody, you know, being somebody wants to watch. You want to go in and just, you know, throw somebody and lay inside control. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. So you know, like that's where my training and my focus is on the sub only rule set.
Yeah. I think you'll be doing because obviously we're going to have ADCC Wales. Obviously Ash Williams is setting that up, so we're obviously going to have some ADCC comps obviously coming, not just Wales but all over the UK. We've got ADCC England, ADCC Scotland, and I believe they've got Kieran Davern, I think, is doing the ADCC Ireland, so we're going to see a lot more ADCC comps popping up all over the place.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's what you want, right?
Yeah. And it's good as well. It's going to be on the doorstep again. Obviously in Wales, you're not having to travel. Obviously all over England and so on. So
it is nice having them local. But you know what it's like. It's quite a nice. It's quite nice when you get to travel as well. So you just take your head totally out of the environment. You know, you stay in a hotel. Probably had a shit sleep that night because you had some piss heads next door going out with the lash. You know what I mean? Just to mix it up a little bit. You know, trying to cut weight in a shower and all these type of weird and wonderful things. So it all adds to the story and the experience, doesn't it? But it is definitely nice to have them local.
We've got lots of stories. I'm sure we can have I don't know, we can probably put 100 shows together about some competition stories. So, and then. Awesome. And then final thing for you then, Jamie. So as I mentioned, you've been in the game for a long time. Obviously, again, massive amounts of experience across grappling, MMA, judo, and so on. So I'm sure obviously over the years you've trained with probably some amazing people, but anybody you want to shout out to? So the usual, obviously your friends, family members, teammates, so on.
Yeah, no. So obviously everybody at the academy is massive, you know, and it's just really good to see the new wave coming through and actually start to push you. You know, you see them come through and you know they're learning and they're kind of finding their feet, and then you see the development just comes on like that. So you know, all my teammates, all my main training partners, you know, Craig, Josh Ronfell, Georgia Doe, Alice Lewis, Yaya McKenzie, and there's so many more. I hate doing this because you miss people out, but you know where you are, guys, and a big shout out to Owen O'Flanagan as well. Owen obviously spent quite a bit of time in Cardiff, and you know, having his leg lock knowledge, you know, departing on me at such a young stage of my development was absolutely massive. So yeah, mate, and thanks to my family and friends for putting up with me being an absolute grumpy ass all the time as well. You know, that always goes a long way as well.
Definitely. One thing I want to mention, you mentioned Owen there. Owen's again, I remember a post going up after, I believe, was at the last Grapple Fest, and somebody mentioned it again about Owen. Owen doesn't get the respect that he deserves either. I mean, anybody that knows the game and knows anything about Owen knows how good Owen is. And they know what a special talent, an absolute special talent, and I'd say there. And it's good to see that he's getting some of the recognition that he deserves. He deserves a lot more, but it's good to see that he is getting some now.
Mate, it was really funny. So the first time, I'll tell a really quick story. The first time I ever met Owen, we had an open map at Newport MMA years ago. And there was some real tasty guys there at the time. And they were strong technical. And the odd one was massive as well. And I seen him there with his ski pants on, and like he was really scrawny at the time. I'm like, right, he's gonna be my restaurant. So I had a couple of hard ones, and then I see him, and then I'm like, right, I'll go with this guy. I think he was averaging tapping me up about 2 times a minute, and absolutely rinsed the floor with me. Like I went that drive on that day, I was questioning every decision I ever made in life. So yeah, that was my first introduction to Roland O'Flanagan and his magician-like skills.
Yeah, but I'm glad to see he is getting some recognition. He deserves a lot more. He definitely deserves a lot more. So, he's a guy that, I mean, I don't know, he's not flew under the radar. He's always been there, but he's just obviously other people have been looked at other people, and then just he's always been there, and he's always been solid. He's always been absolutely brilliant to watch. So,
so funny, mate. It's obviously his leg block game is absolutely phenomenal, but mate, his all-round game is phenomenal. It ain't just his leg blocks are special, but all of his game is absolutely ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And he's getting big now as well, man. He's seen his Insta post. He's filling out, man. He ain't the uni student I first met all those years ago, mate. He definitely isn't. So yeah, it's wicked to see he's getting what he rightfully deserves.
Yeah, definitely. So a big shout out to Owen for sure. So, so guys, there we go. Then we're going to have Jamie Tungate, Craig Ewers Academy is going to be at the Radisson Blue on Saturday the 23rd of July. That's going to be Grapple Kings 8 now. Team England versus Team Wales. So as I mentioned, the best grapplers across both countries are going to be on the display that evening. So it's going to be a joy to watch. Obviously, Jamie's mentioned a couple of matches. Tom Barry, Ben Bennett.
Oh, that's got fire all over him, That's got fire all over it.
Yeah, I've saw both of these guys, and both of these guys are unbelievable. But again, that's just one match. There's another 27 other matches, I believe, after it, so or during it as well. So tickets, again, head over to Grapple Kings Facebook page. It'll take you through to Eventbrite, £30 or £35 a ticket. Fight TV is where you'll be able to watch the pay-per-view. Now, Fight TV, a few different options. $14.99 is the standalone pay-per-view price, but the best one to go for, in my opinion, is the monthly option. Now, monthly, it works out about £4.19. It's $4.99. Now, that will give you the monthly subscription. So you're going to have Grapple Kings 8 and the next 2 Grapple Kings events for the rest of the year, as well as Grapple Fest. Grapple Fest, I believe I've got 3 events coming up before the end of the year as well. So you're going to get all of these for £4 a month. So absolute bargain. Jamie knows. Jamie obviously knows pay-per-view prices. So £4 a month is a bargain. So so make sure you get that or the pay-per-view. But Jamie, listen, absolute pleasure to speak to you, buddy. I'm looking forward to coming down, obviously spending some time with you guys, and looking forward to seeing you. As I've been looking forward to seeing you as soon as I saw your name coming up. So it'll be good to get a chat with you, buddy. In Cardiff, not Newport, Newport.
No, mate. I'm not going to turn to your car when I've been in Newport. You haven't heard that off me,
But listen, Jamie, enjoy the rest of your training, buddy. You, absolute pleasure, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, okay, take care, buddy.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.
Bye.